Hi everyone, this is Killshot from 99 Gaming's The Walking Dead Junkies Podcast, number 8, The New World. So we got a lot of stuff to look into. I want to thank all of you guys for being here. Thanks for being patient over the last couple days. So this is our Junkies Podcast number 8. This is our mid-season finale. So you're not going to see another Junkies Podcast for a couple of months. We're going to try to stream these and go along with our kind of like AMC. Every show that we do is going to have like a different starting point, different ending point. However, there is good news. We will transition our Sunday morning chat to a brand new stream that we're going to do. It's going to be called What If, and some exciting stuff to talk about with that. It's going to open up the doors a little bit more just for some of your involvement. That's really what this is about. And I got a few more announcements to make toward the end of the stream as well. I'm just really excited. And also, if you guys go to the Walking Dead 99 Army page, I want to give a shout out to Kel as well for working with me to create a 99 gaming calendar. We're going to try to get that up for you guys at least the final week of the month so you can see which streams that we have going on. And also a super shout out to Emmy. Emmy is the welcoming crew, Tommy the enforcer, and also to Steph doing some promos and some giveaways. I saw someone mention that just a couple minutes ago. There's more to come with that as well, too. Steph and I are going to be working on some random things, giveaways, so you want to be a part of that. I got so much stuff, man. I can't even talk about everything that we're going to do, but we're going to keep everybody busy throughout the entire Walking Dead season, through summer, through Comic-Cons, through Walker Stalkers, you name it. We are going to do it, and pretty excited, too, about some brand new gear. But let's get into it. Thanks, everybody, for being here and making this a part of your Sunday morning. We got some fear stuff going on as well. So we're going to talk about the new world. And I wanted to kind of end our first the 8th Junkies podcast and talk about something that sort of, I guess it's been on everybody's minds for a while. And we've delved into it, right, with a cure and with the next steps and what's going to happen. But I guess the big question that I have is before you can develop a new world, you have to learn from the mistakes of the past. So I want you guys to think a little bit about some of the biggest mistakes that we've seen the group. Hey, here you go. I want you to think about some of the mistakes. Pete D says the audio sounds better than ever today. Are you guys seeing that? We did a test stream last Friday. I know a few of you jumped in. So first of all, thank you so much, Pete, for that super chat. Does it sound better? Does it sound different? Does it sound like I'm awake today? Give me some specifics with that. All right, awesome. So then I got to be careful because you'll hear Morris's fountains and waterfalls and stuff in the background probably. All right, awesome. Well, thank you. And appreciate you guys being extremely patient. I don't want to jinx anybody at this point because I'm very superstitious with these streams. And if you guys know, and I'll get back to the Walking Dead topic in a minute, but this is a little bit casual. I went through new software, so many things to try to reconcile some of these streams, and I'm not going to talk about it yet because we're on a very, very good roll. But for 6 months, no issues, and then the last couple months has been very sporadic. So I'm hoping that this will be the norm going forward. So thank you, and appreciate you noticing because it has been pretty stressful for me just to try to troubleshoot everything that we could. But so far, so good. We did an hour-plus stream on Friday. It was really good. We deleted. It was just one of those casual things that we hung out and did. But that has led to something else, and I don't want to spoil it just yet because I am going to talk about something that we're going to do some Fridays as well. So I'm going to get back to a couple comments, and I feel like before you can go forward, you have to just reassess. Where are they at? What happened? And then we'll get to some of the topics. So biggest mistakes that you guys have seen over the last couple seasons, and what has the group learned? So I'm going to read a couple comments here. Type away, everybody. Let's see. Morgan Software, now it's clear. It's quick. Quick fluff. Scott, filming. Yeah, filming. I didn't know it started tomorrow. I knew it was coming up, but that's awesome. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to start getting some tidbits of information out there because, people are watching this stuff with, like, telescopes, binoculars, sonar, who's talking. They got, like, drones, anything to get Walking Dead information. All right, so we're going to pick up on a couple of these comments. Lessons learned. So I'll kick it off a little bit here. I think there was a reminder that no one is immune to loss, that they had sort of gotten into a habit where they took it for granted, almost as if the people that were going to die almost deserved it. Not Benjamin, but I guess, Spencer kind of deserved it. There was some arguments on both sides, whether Abraham, Glenn deserved it. Maybe they deserved it, but not in that regard. Someone deserved it. How many of the Saviors deserved to die? But then we saw the thing with Carl, and I think it was a reminder that it's, even if you're trying to do the right thing, it's right around the corner. I think, who was it? Was it Casey? Was it Casey or Wilani? I'm sorry, somebody just typed it. I saw it stream up really quickly. But someone had said the dead is the true enemy. And multiple enemies, you can't ever let your guard down. So I think that would be a big lesson that the group has learned. You know what? I'm not even, it's going to be a permanent part of this video, but I'm definitely not reading it, Steph. But thank you. Moving on. Let's get to a little different topic here. So, Morgan, at what point do you think it's going to be a wake-up call and they're going to look around and say, Morgan's gone? And I don't think Morgan left a letter. I think Morgan just left. Carl was so proactive, he left letters for everybody. Morgan is just like, peace, I can't deal with this stuff anymore. So what do you think about the impact of Morgan being gone, when they're going to find out, if there's going to be a mystery around? I mean, we know, as viewers, we saw Morgan running away. But Morgan seems to have a little bit more relevance to the group than Heath and to Sherry. So when other people disappear, I think there's just an assumption that, all right, they're probably gone, they're walkers, they're dead. Morgan, I'm not sure. Kel says she thinks Morgan left a note. Do you guys agree with that? You think Morgan is going to communicate that? Until he shows up in a couple years to help him fight the next big enemy? Janet C. commented on that previous question, says not celebrating victory before they know what they're up against. I think it's a good point. Casey says they know Morgan doesn't die. I don't die. He made that point, and that's going to continue to be his mantra over and over. So Deborah says no because he wanted to be left alone. He did, and Rick was kind of like the prophet to say, hey, you're going to be around people. But I assume at some point they're going to say, let's just go check up on him, see what's going on. Unless it's just going to be one of those things that they know, the audience knows it. There are some of those things that they don't go back and answer because I guess it just gets a little bit repetitive. Mish says Morgan just peaced out. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those things we see him a couple years and it's like, they didn't know what happened to him. So some of the big questions for the new world. I'm going to give you 1, 2, 3. Let me give you four different groups. And tell me which one of these groups you're most anxious to see how it plays out in the new world. Heath, Georgie, the Saviors or former Saviors, or the Oceanside. Pick a topic, because I've got just some interesting chat. Well, I hope it's interesting. I thought it was interesting to myself. But I got some chat that I want to discuss with each one of those four groups. I'm going to pick, like, whoever, whichever group is the most selected. We're going to kind of focus on that a little bit. What's up, Tina? Thanks for being here. Hippo Whispers were not one of the group. Clearly, we have someone here that does not want to follow instructions. Moderate. Nah, I'm just messing with him. Whispers were not a group, and he put it all in caps, too. All right, so we got some Oceanside, some Saviors, Georgie. Looks like Oceanside and Georgie have the most intrigue around them. Nobody wants to know what's going on with Heath. Well, they probably figure Heath's tied into one of those other groups. Either Georgie or the Whispers. Okay, so not a lot of people pick the Saviors, so I'm going to start with that. See, I just tricked you guys. Everybody kind of picked a group, and then I'm going with the one least picked. So we'll start kind of the lowest to the, I guess, the most intrigue. The Saviors and a good portion of the Saviors are men. What percentage do you think of the Saviors are men? Just a ballpark, if you guys can throw this out there. Question for the group. This is a 999 official pulse check. A survey. A unofficial survey. I mean, it's got to be up there. 85%. Pretty high number. That's a nice, we got 89s, 87, 98s. Okay, it's a lot. So, these Saviors have been working for food, taking over, collecting Negan's bounty, doing all these things. And the Oceanside, which you guys want to see how that's going to play out, the Oceanside is 100% women. So I can see some forging of relationships in the future. I think that's something that you'll start to see. And we started to see a little bit with people helping people, where, Rosita and the group, they went over and they're going to help build up the sanctuary. But there are families, there are kids, even in the sanctuary. But I think the majority, especially if they said, how many people do you have? A good majority of the Saviors are men. Okay, let's say 75, maybe 80. So I do think you're going to start to see some of these groups sort of merge. I mean, at some point, they are going to take up arms again, and they are going to fight another enemy. But some sense of normalcy has to creep back in. But certainly, Kel, more babies coming soon. I mean, like the song, children are the future. Whether we want a lot of children on the show or not, children, they got to develop. And therefore, I think some of the relationships will start to play out. Now, it's not just to say everybody's going to get together and it's going to be happy-go-lucky, but Oceanside is a strong group of fighters as well. So I think you're going to just see the community develop, the community begin to grow. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Season 9 really start out. And like I said, I'm going to go out on a limb once again and say they're a little bit more advanced, more into the storyline. So, the question I have up there is who's in charge, where you saw Rick was willing to sort of give the power back to Maggie. But I got a couple things. I went back and I even watched that scene again with Maggie. When I watched it again, it didn't seem as Maggie was out to get Rick as she wants to prove to Rick that Negan has to die. So I think initially we saw a little bit of, when you first see it, you're looking for the dark side of it. Like, oh, there's Maggie, there's Jesus, there's Daryl. Oh, man, they're going to build up, and they're going to war with Alexandria. The more I see that, I didn't really kind of get that. I did see she was kind of playing on Jesus a little bit. But I'm telling you, unless I'm just absolutely going deaf, she said Michonne twice. She did not say Michonne. She said Rick and she said Michonne. So can you guys just go back and just watch that again and just make sure that, like, almost like she was not giving Michonne credit for being her own individual, that she's just, it's both of them. And is she officially coining the phrase, or did she just slur it? But check that out again and see if you think that has maybe a little bit of relevance. So Mina says Maggie isn't going to hurt Rick unless he gets in her way. Goldfinger, she wants to sneak in and kill Negan. I think so. But she also was pretty adamant about building it up again so it never happens. So Michonne is a phrase that I don't think I've ever heard on the show. And I think it's something that, people are talking about different ships and people being involved with each other. It's just something that came out. And it's almost as if the show's now taking credit for the verbiage or getting the verbiage out there through a somewhat vengeful, spiteful Maggie. Maybe I'm reading into it pretty deep. I would just say, just check it again, listen to it, see if there's some kind of diabolical nature of what her and Daryl seem to be doing. All right, and I'm going to get back to Georgie in 1 second. So, the new world, you can't wing it. Thank you so much, Denise. Denise LDT with a super chat says, can't stay, we'll rewatch later. Well, I will give you a shout out, so when you rewatch it later, I want to say thank you. Denise was involved in a lot of our season finales as well, so appreciate that. And if you can't rewatch it, hopefully you can join us for the Fear Countdown as well. So I'd love to see you later and get involved in that chat. But Denise, you can also throw a question in there as well. We'd love to talk about some of your topics. So, Valerie, you're right. Maggie just wants Negan dead. But even though she wants Negan dead, she is going to scrutinize other people's decisions if they continue to make decisions she doesn't agree with. This is step one. you know what, Walani, could be. Could have been a mistake when they filmed it. I just don't think, though, with all the editing and everything that they do, and how many times they hear that, I feel like it had to be intentional. In today's day and age, you don't see a lot of kind of TV show mistakes. You do catch one every once in a while, but it just was pretty obvious to me. So let's take one of Negan's lines and talk about how the new world may operate. As Negan said, there are rules. So if you have 10 different people in a room, you're going to have 10 different ideas. And sometimes for the greater good, you might come to a consensus. But other times, at some point, there's just going to be these small little things. Either they irritate you, or it didn't work out, or you cast blame. All of those things can come into the equation. And in the beginning, people appreciate leadership. They appreciate what you've done for them. But in the long haul, when comfort sets in, and we've seen this in Walking Dead, that's when you got that uprising, which is great for the TV show because it always gives them a narrative. It always gives them a direction that they can take. So there's going to have to be rules. There's going to have to be leaders. There's going to have to be laws. And I think that's what I'm probably more interested in, is seeing. Question for the group. Can The Walking Dead as we know it provide structure without fear? Negan provided structure with fear. Rick provided structure, I think, with hope. Can they provide a set of rules that people are willing to buy into? I'm not saying that Rick needs to be elected town mayor, but maybe Rick needs to be elected town mayor. And how does that begin to look? Which will tie into what we talked about a little bit earlier with, what did they learn? Even when they had that in Alexandria. This is why I pose this question to everyone. Because even when the group got to Alexandria, they were sneaking weapons. And they didn't trust the group. They were already looking over their shoulder. You know, why are they bringing us here? And I understand that. I understand that you have to. But some of that unwillingness to give in to authority did cause problems for this group. Bumblebee Brown says, yes, if you walk the walk and talk the talk without killing first, people will believe you and follow you. Ooh, there we go. Now I've got someone digging down a little bit. And thank you for that, Mina, because sometimes when I suggest ideas like that, it's not the most popular when people watch the playback. So Mina says, and you guys can scroll up and see who actually made this statement. I'm just enhancing it. Not Rick. He's gone over the decency bridge one too many times. Ultra Groove with a follow. Rick broke his word too many times. Can Rick be taken out of power? Does Rick want to be taken out of power? Oh, there's Nick. See, Nick's coming in with a little bit of defense and says he had to. I knew this would happen. And this is what's so great about our debates, is because we we take into account sometimes how we feel about that character, and we either justify their actions or we criticize their actions. And I've always been fairly neutral to Rick, but I do have to agree that he's pushed it a little bit, where he's becoming a person that people have respected Rick because he was Rick. And now he's starting to become a person that maybe people don't recognize. Deborah says Rick now has a tendency to lie. Yeah, I think all those are really, really strong points. It is a lot to put on one person, which is why you can't just bring out your, this is the way I'm going to do it today handbook. Where you do almost need a person like a Aaron or a Eugene or someone that may be more likely to stick to a process. I mean, let's draw a comparison to Game of Thrones. And let's look at the leadership there. Because we are going to be talking Game of Thrones pretty soon. So even when you have that structure and you have, you know, those people supporting your structure, you still have a certain amount of anarchy. Dawn of the Frank says he lost touch with himself, been through too much. Hey, I think Eugene could be a politician. I mean, let's compare. If we were to have, and Pete D says, Rick is only willing to live by his rules. He's seen it. And maybe even if Father G had the mental fortitude, his beliefs could carry over into other people. So maybe he's not the best leader. You make Daryl leader. He's guilty. I'm going to kill that son of a bitch. Daryl has a death penalty for everybody. Rick has gotten inconsistent. Maggie is driven by revenge. Maybe it's time for everybody to see the king. Let the king lead. Once Ezekiel gets over, Ezekiel's been at a good place. He's been a good provider. He's been at a dark place when he lost Shiva. So possibly King Ezekiel. Karen S. said a council worked at the prison, but sometimes you just have to act. So the biggest challenge, I think, as we see it for The Walking Dead is the structure. Funny. I did ask this question. I'm not asking these questions to set you up, but I do have a protocol and a checklist I sort of go through with some of these streams. So we did ask the question a little bit earlier about, could the group provide structure? And many of you said yes. But now that we actually start to drill down and see what structure entails, there's a lot of all over the place. It's natural. So if we can't decide on a structure outside the show, it's going to be very tough to believe in a structure inside the show, especially when some people want Negan alive, some people want Negan dead. Some of the Saviors will probably... you know what? I'm not going to answer this question because I'm going to ask it to the group. Maggie wants Negan dead. Rick wants Negan alive as an example of what it's like to be locked up forever. Question I have for all of you. What do you think if there was a council and they talked to all the Saviors, what do you think the Saviors would say to do with Negan? Think about this. Drive this down really, really clearly. What do you think the majority of the Saviors would want for Negan's fate? Dawn of the Frank says, kill him. You know, I agree with that too. I would say most of the Saviors would want him held captive. Jailed. I don't think they want him freely running around. I don't think they want him in power. But I do think a lot of the Saviors understood what he was trying to do for them. Because I do think that there is probably some sympathy for him. Even though they didn't like the iron, they didn't like a lot of stuff he did. I could be off base on that. I mean, maybe some want him dead. But they seem content to just go with the flow. So, interesting topic. Let's go back up to that because I saw Denise Hopkins, and it was like super bold. Why can't Michonne lead? It was all caps. So I'm going to ask the question. Why can't Michonne lead? Or could she lead? Let's talk about Michonne's character. Let's talk about leadership abilities. Let's talk about potential flaws. Let's talk about how the group would react to her. And it may not be a bad idea. Maybe Rick could back off. We know that she has the power and the control. The last scene with Negan, I definitely like that. She was willing to use a little bit of excessive force if needed. Beat him. So she's too many movies to make. Dawn of the Frank says she definitely could lead. Haiti says she can lead. So a lot of people think Michonne would be a good leader. So, question for the group. If Michonne were in charge, would she kill Negan? I'm throwing some questions out there. This is the new world. Bumblebee Brown says yes, she would kill Negan. Well, okay, well, that's the problem, Mina. No, because Rick doesn't want to kill Negan. So that's the bait I'm throwing out there for everybody. And also, if Michonne were the leader and she made the same decision that Rick did, then she's already okay to isolate herself from the hilltop. And why didn't somebody snipe Negan? You know, when Rick and Negan are fighting hand to hand and you turn around and there's like 100 people up on the hill watching. If they really wanted Negan dead, could they not have been like a little closer than 200 yards away at the very end? Like, you know, hey, let me run up and just end this thing really quickly. Why did it have to be man to man at the end? I know, because the writers wanted it that way. But it did seem like there were a lot of people kind of content just to sort of watch how it was going to play out. I don't think Michonne would kill Negan either. That's a good point. It's a good thing they didn't shoot, because they probably would have hit Rick about 50 times if they were aiming for Negan. What's up, Dawn of the Frank? Dawn of the Frank with the super chat. Throw out a follow-up question for us as well, Frank. Yeah, I mean, it would have been interesting to see how it would have played out if Rick were losing. Would Sadiq have been able to save Rick's life? So, follow-up question, everybody. What would have happened? This is along the lines of what if next week. What would happen if Negan would have killed Rick? Saviors already surrendered. And thank you for that follow-up. Dawn of the Frank says, just want to say how much I love these chats. So, Frank, I want to say how much I appreciate all of you guys for being here. I love the intense debate. I love the conversations. I love the participation, everybody getting involved. And not only that is just the interaction when these videos goes live, how much you guys communicate with each other, and then you guys get here before the stream even starts, and there's just a lot of socializing going on. So thank you. Appreciate all of that. So we will probably talk about this a little bit later on because we are running to the end of the stream, the time that we run these, and we will have multiple streams going on today. I got a couple announcements I have to make. But the seed that I want to plan is, if Negan would have killed Rick, would the Saviors have all of a sudden followed Negan? Would Maggie have become the de facto leader? Would Michonne have stepped in? Daryl was over there. Rosita was over there. If Negan would have killed Rick, would the Saviors have regretted surrendering, and would they have still taken Negan down? So just a seed to plant at the end of this video. I want to thank everybody for being here. We will follow up with that, and that could be a hint that we may talk about next Sunday. And let me make a couple of announcements because some people did ask some questions. First of all, you guys can see over on the left side, we do have on the 999 Gear site a brand new T-shirt for the 999 Army. It says Lucille the like button. Those of you that are in chat today, please Lucille the like button. But if you want to represent 999 Army, we got 999 Army shirts, mugs, and then we got this one that's brand new. We're going to roll out something new every single week. I may even take one of your slogans, one of your phrases, something that you've mentioned in one of our chats, in one of our streams, something along those lines. You're liable to see it on a T-shirt. We got some really, really good lines out there, and I've seen some great super chats as well that I may take some of your comments. Pete D, we might get an anti-terrorist shirt just for you. Who knows? Anything is possible, like Kevin Garnett said. Also, tonight at 8 o'clock, we will have our Fear Countdown. And then after Fear the Walking Dead at 10:20 tonight, we will have our Fear the Walking Dead fan reactions. We will do a complete recap tomorrow. Random things. Steph and I are going to work together. We may have some giveaways at this week's Random Things, so stay tuned for that. And then we'll have our bold predictions on Wednesday. And also, Friday night, I wanted to get something out there because I want to say thank you to the Patreons, to the supporters, to everybody that's involved. But we're going to do a Freestyle Friday, and it's going to happen every 2 weeks. And I'm going to give the super chatters a chance to really get involved and control the conversation. So I don't want you to think it's all about super chat because we're all going to be involved in it. But I can't shout out everybody at super chats, people that see the video. But for example, I will take a topic and someone will super chat that. It can be the smallest increment of super chat, whatever. But if someone wants to change the conversation, they'll type a super chat, and then we'll go in and we will discuss that until someone else changes the topic. So we'll try it for a couple weeks, see how it goes. But just something I wanted to do to get some of those people involved in the streams as well too. So thank you for everything that you guys are doing. I appreciate it. If you're watching the playback of this video, then this is the closing credits. One last thing I'll say: check out that calendar on the 999 Army page. And the stream was no lag today, so I guess I can officially say it at this point that this was pretty solid. We got almost 45 minutes worth of time, and everybody said it came through more loud, more clear, more involved. So let's hope that this is the new norm and the new software actually does this trick. So if you guys can do me a favor and just type a quick 999 in chat, because I want to give as many shout-outs as possible, and I will talk to you all at 8 o'clock tonight for Fear the Walking Dead. Thanks, everybody. Let's get some 999s up in here, up in here, up in here. I want to say thanks to Tegan, Eric C., Pete M., Marion Delonzo, Mina, Deborah Mooney, Mitch, Bumblebee Brown, Nicobe Irby. Thank you so much. Who else we got? Of course, the moderators. Special shout out for the moderators. Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kels. You guys are awesome. Walani, thank you so much. Becca Boland, appreciate you being here. Rubelow's channel. Haiti Badoon. Charlie Amos, thank you so much. Ron Burgundy, good to see you, man. Dawn of the Frank, thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Thanks for being a part of the conversation. Hopefully, I hope you guys are going to like Freestyle Fridays. It sounds like it's a fun concept, but we'll try it. It's going to be every 2 weeks. The first one will be this Friday, and we'll see how it goes. If it's interesting and we can shift topics, who knows what we're going to talk about. It might be more random than random things. Deborah Cox, thank you so much. Gina Crockett, thank you. Nick Plant, thanks for being here. Smooth as, so is it easy? It's easy like Sunday morning. Yeah. Sorry, Lionel, had to do it. That's why I'm easy. Who else we got? People are like, who are the Commodores? What's up, Chains? Good to see you. Janet C., thank you. And if you guys can piece those two music references between going from DMX, who can go from DMX to the Commodores except for the 999 Army? I mean, no ABBA. But I'm still free. Take a chance on me. Take a chance, take a chance. That's, you know what? You might get some freestyle on Friday. We might actually freestyle whatever. All right, let's get some more 999s up in here. I know I haven't shouted out everybody. And also, once this video goes live, you guys can do me a favor and just make sure you leave comments on it. Have a good time with it. Share it with other people. Get more people involved in our chat and our conversation. I'm looking forward to Fear. So if it's a winner tonight, it'll be 3 weeks in a row that I think we've had a really, really solid broadcast, debate, conversation, all of the above. Thanks, Eric C. Hippo in the house. Thanks, Janet Person. Melinda Kettler. Thanks, Melinda. Good seeing you as well. All right, I think we're good. If I missed you in a shout out for whatever reason, or you were driving or making lunch, any of those things tonight, then I'll catch you next go round. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you. Deborah Mooney, Denise Hopkins, everybody. Thank you so much. Appreciate everybody being part of this, and I will see you all at 8 o'clock tonight to talk a little Fear of the Walking Dead. Peace.